Welcome back, everyone. If you're interested in catching up on the earlier chapters of this manhwa, be sure to check out the previous video on our channel. Now, let's dive into today's recap and continue our journey through the story. Murakan, consumed by anger, wanted to unleash his power but held back, knowing that Jin was just a child and that it would be unsatisfying to direct his fury at him. Meanwhile, Jin believed that Murakan's frustration was already aimed at him. As Murakan sat down with a deep sigh, he struggled to accept the reality that he was being regarded as the guardian of the Runcandel. Murakan spoke to Jin, saying it had been a long time since he had encountered a pleasant scent, yet all he saw before him was a child. He then stood up and approached Jin to sniff him more closely. Murakan asked Jin why he could detect the scent of shadow energy on him. Jin, puzzled, did not understand what shadow energy was. Murakan, reflecting on his long slumber, remarked that despite having slept for 1,000 years, he still remembered the scent of shadow energy with perfect clarity. Murakan told Jin that the distinctive scent of shadow energy should only come from individuals bound by a contract, like Tamar. Realizing that Murakan had awakened from his slumber, Jin understood that the shadow energy Murakan detected was emanating from him. Meanwhile, Murakan was still trying to pinpoint the source of the scent, unable to believe it could be coming from Jin. In that moment, Jin decided to test something. He called out to Murakan, who responded eagerly, thinking Jin had the answer to his question. Jin then revealed his power to Murakan and asked if this was what he had been searching for. Jin explained that his father had told him this power was granted by the shadow god, Soldaret. Upon hearing this, Murakan stood in shock, unable to grasp the truth. He couldn't believe that the power of Soldaret now resided within the young child, Jin. The thought that the contract between Murakan and Soldaret was now tied to Jin was almost unbelievable to him. Meanwhile, Jin was puzzled by Murakan's reaction. Murakan then addressed Jin, explaining that there was a time when he had made a promise to Soldaret, and it seemed that Jin was now the one required to help fulfill that promise. Jin, still confused, didn't understand the nature of the promise between Murakan and Soldaret. Murakan assured Jin that he would provide more details later, as he had just awakened and was still trying to clear his mind. Recognizing that Jin might not fully grasp what was happening due to his young age, Murakan decided to introduce himself properly so Jin could understand who he was, given Jin's connection as Soldaret's contractor. Murakan then rose, unleashing his power, and introduced himself to Jin. He revealed that he was Soldaret's representative, a trusted friend, and the last descendant of the original being forged from shadows. Murakan then informed Jin that, according to the 1,000-year contract, he would be bound to Jin's side from that moment onward. Jin was taken aback by this unexpected declaration. Murakan then asked about the name of Soldaret's contractor, seeking to confirm Jin's identity. Jin responded confidently, introducing himself as Jin Runcandel, the 13th and youngest member of the Runcandel family. Following their introductions, they shook hands in a gesture of mutual respect. Murakan Mountain, a place renowned for its stormy winds, was named after the black dragon Murakan, who once ruled the region. However, 1,000 years ago, Murakan was defeated in a battle against Tamar Runcandel. The records claimed that after the destruction of the Storm Castle, Murakan fell into a deep slumber. But upon meeting Murakan in person, Jin realized that this account was not the complete truth. Jin had heard that those who made contracts with the gods typically did so in conjunction with a guardian dragon. Yet, little was known about Soldaret's guardian dragon, leading to some doubt. Given that Murakan had been in a deep slumber and was now awake, Jin speculated that he might be assigned a guardian dragon as well. Jin opened the door to the secret room and greeted Murakan, who was already there. Murakan's face lit up with delight at Jin's arrival. Jin handed Murakan some snacks that his nanny had prepared, and Murakan's happiness grew even more upon receiving them. Jin considered that since he would be spending the coming days with Murakan, it was the perfect opportunity to ask him all the questions he had been curious about. Even after Murakan had awakened from his slumber, Jin managed to keep him in the secret library for several weeks. Jin began asking Murakan the questions he was most curious about. He asked why Murakan had fought Tamar, the founding leader of the Runcandel family. Murakan explained that the battle had occurred nearly 1,000 years ago, and he couldn't recall the specific reason behind it. Jin was not entirely satisfied with this answer. After responding, Moroccan inquired whether Jin had brought only a small amount of strawberry pie for him. Jin grew increasingly irritated by Moroccan's constant focus on the pie and realized one thing for certain: Moroccan was absolutely obsessed with strawberry pie. Moroccan asked Jin what he typically did when he visited the secret library. Jin explained that he spent his time transcribing and uncovering the secrets of the journals in the library. He would take blank journals with him and record everything Moroccan shared in private. Moroccan was astonished by Jin's dedication and asked if Jin understood the contents of the journals. Jin admitted that he comprehended only about 30% of the material, while the rest remained unclear to him. Moroccan reassured Jin not to be too disheartened, noting that understanding 30% was impressive for someone so young. He pointed out that children of Jin's age would likely struggle to grasp even that much and would often be too lazy to try. Despite Moroccan's encouragement, Jin was not entirely satisfied. He replied to Moroccan saying that children who couldn't decipher the journals were merely average, and he didn't want to be grouped with them. As a member of the Runcandel family, Jin felt it was only natural for him to understand the writings in the journals. He explained to Moroccan that with 12 older siblings, as well as his father, mother, and the elders, he was under significant pressure to excel. Jin believed that to defeat his enemies, he needed to work harder to stand strong against them. Jin then asked Moroccan whether, if Tamar, the founding father of the Runcandel family, were present and read the same journal, he would be able to understand its contents. Jin wondered how he measured up compared to the strongest being in history. Moroccan responded that if Tamar were of Jin's age, he wouldn't be able to comprehend a single line of the journal. Jin was taken aback by this revelation. Moroccan added that theories are not always accurate, noting that Tamar had never read the books in the library yet had still become extraordinarily powerful. Moroccan told Jin that while he possessed the potential and capability similar to Tamar, he was not yet as accomplished. Jin was stunned by the implication that he might never reach Tamar's level and asked if he would never be as great as the founder. Moroccan clarified that, like Tamar, Jin was a contractor of solderet, but Jin was more intelligent and capable of understanding the books that even Tamar could not. He reassured Jin that, being still very young, there was no need for impatience or immediate comparisons to Tamar. Jin simply needed to focus on hard work and training. With time, Jin might not only reach Tamar's level of strength but potentially surpass it, as he had the potential to do so. Jin, seeking reassurance, asked if Moroccan's words were true. Moroccan confirmed that they were indeed the truth. Moroccan then asked Jin if he knew Solderet's name. Jin admitted he did not. Moroccan revealed that Solderet's name was Infinite. He explained that because Solderet's power had no limits, Jin, as Solderet's contractor, was also bound by no such limits. Moroccan urged Jin not to be so gloomy and to have more faith in himself. He reassured Jin that just as Solderet's power was limitless, so too was Jin's potential. To lift Jin's spirits, Moroccan decided to teach him a new technique. Jin's excitement was immediate as he asked what the technique was. Moroccan explained that the technique was called shadow energy liberation. Jin was intrigued but confused about what this technique entailed. Moroccan explained that anyone who used shadow energy needed to become familiar with this technique, as it was fundamental to mastering shadow energy. He added that the technique was extremely dangerous, and improper use could have fatal consequences. Therefore, Moroccan advised Jin to learn and practice it slowly and carefully. Jin took Moroccan's advice to heart and agreed to proceed with caution. Jin then asked Moroccan what the first step was in learning the technique. Moroccan explained that the initial task was for Jin to learn how to open and control his magic. Jin was puzzled, as he was unsure how to open his magic. He questioned Moroccan about the necessity of this step, reflecting that he had already undergone extensive training in magic during his previous life and wondered why he needed to learn this again. Moroccan clarified that shadow energy liberation involved both opening one's magic and maneuvering it effectively. Jin needed to master these two skills to proceed. He advised Jin to focus on practicing these techniques continuously for the next 2 to 3 years. Jin, upon hearing this, felt that dedicating 2 to 3 years to mastering the technique seemed like a lengthy and daunting commitment. Moroccan told Jin that he hadn't even learned the basics of the technique yet, so advanced training was out of the question. He explained that once Jin had grasped the fundamental aspects of the technique, the next step would be learning how to manipulate the magic. As Moroccan spoke, Jin quickly completed the basic training for the first and second steps. Moroccan was astonished to see that Jin had mastered these basics within seconds, a process that should have taken 2 to 3 years. He was amazed not only by Jin's ability to shape the magic within him but also by Jin's skill in manipulating it as he wished. Moroccan was taken aback, noting that only the most exceptional geniuses could learn these techniques so rapidly. He acknowledged Jin as one of these extraordinary talents. With Jin's rapid progress, Moroccan decided to give him a quick demonstration of the shadow energy liberation technique. Jin was thrilled to learn that he could start mastering the technique immediately, without having to wait for years. Moroccan then released his magic and explained to Jin that shadow energy originates from shadows. Since all the shadows in the world were born from Soldaret, Soldaret was the master of all shadows. As Soldaret's sole contractor, Jin had the potential to become the master of all the world's shadows. Jin was stunned as he watched the shadows around him gather and converge towards Moroccan. The sheer volume of shadows encircling Moroccan was awe-inspiring. Moroccan asked Jin how he felt about this revelation. Then, with a gesture, Moroccan stopped his magic, causing all the shadows to vanish instantly. Jin was left amazed and bewildered by the demonstration of shadow energy's power. Moroccan, with confidence, told Jin that this was the true essence of shadow energy liberation. In a different area, the forest echoed with the screams of monsters. These were the cries of a monster recently slain by Luna, the first member of the flag bearers. One of her knights approached and reported that the area had been cleared. Only 5 more areas remained, and then the mission would be complete. Luna nodded in agreement, stating that 4 months would be sufficient to conquer the remaining monsters. She instructed the knight to inform the rest of the team and to tell the knights to take a break for the time being. Luna then asked the knight an unexpected question: what do 9-year-old children typically like? The knight was puzzled by this seemingly random question. Half a year later, many things had happened in the Storm Castle. Daytona and Haydena stood by their transportation vehicle with Jin and his maid, Gilly. It was time for the Tona twin brothers to leave the castle, as required by the rules upon reaching the designated age. Both Daytona and Haydena bid Jin farewell, and Jin reciprocated their goodbyes with equal warmth. During that half-year, Jin also celebrated his birthday. While inside the castle, he was suddenly surrounded by his maids and bodyguards. They sang a birthday song, marking Jin's 9th birthday, and brought out a cake to celebrate the occasion. Jin was deeply touched by their efforts and expressed his gratitude for the celebration. He then asked his maid, Gilly, to distribute the cake to everyone present, which she did promptly. At that moment, Khan, Jin's bodyguard, called out to him. Khan apologized for the unexpected interruption. Jin inquired about the reason for the call, but just then, a female voice approached from a distance. Jin turned to see Luna, his sister and the first member of the flag bearers. The crowd greeted her warmly, announcing that Mistress Luna had come to visit. Jin and Gilly were both astonished to see Luna standing before them. Luna was the first flag bearer of the Runcandel family and a 9-star knight. As the eldest of the 13 Runcandel siblings, she was also known as the White Whale Luna Runcandel. Despite being the strongest among her siblings, Luna had no interest in becoming the patriarch and had withdrawn from the bitter conflicts of the Succession War. Luna was often described as a solitary figure, a lone white whale moving through life without engaging with her family. Her relationship with her siblings was so distant that it could be more accurately described as that of strangers rather than family. This was how detached Jin and Luna had been in their previous life. Yet, in this life, the sister who was known for avoiding her family members was now standing in front of Jin at the Storm Castle. Luna did not announce her visit to Jin. Curious and slightly concerned, Jin wondered why she was at the Storm Castle. He speculated that something significant might have happened within the family to bring her here. Alternatively, he thought that Luna might have discovered his visits to the secret library and was here to confront him about it. Approaching Luna, Jin called out her name. Luna responded with a warm acknowledgement, noting that Jin had grown up. Jin then mentioned that if he had known Luna would visit, he would have dressed more appropriately. Luna, smiling, gently ruffled Jin's hair and told him that his concern was endearing. She added that she didn't need to make an announcement if she wanted to see her little brother. Jin was taken aback by Luna's affectionate words. He was used to her distant demeanor and found it surprising to hear such warmth from her. Luna then observed Jin closely and, noticing that he seemed a bit unsettled, placed her hands on his shoulders and asked if he was feeling unwell. Jin, still puzzled by his sister's behavior, assured her that he was fine but admitted to feeling a little nervous. Luna was puzzled by Jin's nervousness. Jin explained that this was the first time he had seen her up close, and the unfamiliarity made him feel on edge. Luna then realized that Jin might be feeling this way because of the Runcandel family tradition of sibling rivalry, where siblings often tested, stole from, and undermined each other. She worried that Jin might have expected her visit to be a confrontation or a challenge, similar to his experiences with the other siblings. Feeling concerned, Luna acknowledged that she might have been inconsiderate. She apologized to Jin, recognizing that he was the youngest member of the Runcandel family and expressing regret for causing him any anxiety. Luna looked down, visibly saddened by her realization and her impact on Jin. Luna then knelt down, took Jin's hands in hers, and requested to speak with him privately. She asked for permission to dismiss his nanny and knights so that they could have a moment alone. Jin was taken aback by his sister's request for a private conversation. After a moment of surprise, Jin agreed and allowed Luna to send away his attendants, thinking that although he was unsure of the reason for her request, it didn't seem to be a negative situation. He decided it was all right for them to speak in private. Jin and Luna then moved to a separate room, leaving the others behind, to have their conversation. Luna began by explaining that her sudden visit to the Storm Castle was due to an important matter she needed to discuss with Jin. Curious, Jin asked what this important issue was. Luna explained that Jin's behavior during their father's recent visit had caught the attention of all their siblings. This meant that as soon as Jin left the Storm Castle, he would be closely monitored by his brothers and sisters. She continued, telling Jin that although he might eventually become involved in the family conflicts over who would become the next patriarch, she hoped he wouldn't let these disputes affect his personal happiness. Luna took Jin's hands and expressed her desire for him not to suffer because of the Runcandel family's traditions. Jin was taken aback by Luna's concern. Her words made him understand why she had distanced herself from the other siblings. He realized that Luna had given up the patriarchal claim precisely to avoid the bitter family struggles over the succession. Jin pondered why Luna hadn't warned him about these issues in his previous life. He speculated that perhaps she hadn't viewed him as worth speaking to, or that his siblings hadn't seen him as a serious contender back then. Luna looked at Jin with a worried expression as he pondered her words. When Jin spoke, he expressed his gratitude for Luna's concern but made it clear that he had no intention of staying out of the family conflict. Luna was not satisfied with this response. She was deeply concerned that Jin might suffer if he got involved in the family rivalry. Luna emphasized that her advice was sincere and not a tactic to avoid competing against Jin. She stressed that her concern was genuine and that she wasn't merely trying to dissuade him out of personal interest. Jin interrupted her gently, acknowledging that he understood Luna's intentions were meant for his benefit. However, he pointed out that he had already survived an assassination attempt and could not back down now, especially with his life at stake. Luna was shocked on hearing that Jin, still a child, had already faced an assassination attempt. Her composure faltered, and she was overwhelmed with anger and concern. The atmosphere in the room grew tense and dark as Luna's fury erupted. She demanded to know who had dared to attempt such a heinous act against Jin within the Storm Castle. Jin was stunned by the intensity of Luna's reaction and the strong pressure she exuded. Luna's voice, now laced with anger, demanded to know which sibling had attempted to kill him. She gripped Jin's shoulders, her expression filled with worry, and asked if he had any idea which sibling might be responsible. Jin replied that he could not disclose the information, as he did not know the identity of the true culprit behind the assassination attempt. Even if he did know, he told Luna, he could not reveal it. Jin continued, reassuring Luna that despite the assassination attempt, he was unharmed and doing fine. He acknowledged that while some of his siblings might harbor ill will, not all of them hated him. He expressed gratitude to Luna for her concern, which brought him great joy to know that his sister cared so deeply for him. Moved by Jin's words, Luna suddenly embraced him, offering her love and support. She told Jin that since he had already faced such danger, he was now inevitably entangled in the family rivalry, with no way to escape it. Luna was saddened by this reality, as she had hoped Jin could lead a happier, conflict-free life. Jin was surprised to see this tender side of Luna, whom he had always perceived as cold and distant. Here she was, comforting him with genuine affection. He urged her not to be disheartened by the situation. Luna agreed, adding that today was a joyful occasion, his birthday, and they should not let it be overshadowed by sadness. Luna then told Jin that since it was his birthday, she had come to the Storm Castle with a special gift for him. She retrieved a small case from her pocket and opened it, revealing a pendant with a blue gem. "Turn around," Luna instructed gently, so she could fasten the pendant around Jin's neck. Jin complied, and Luna explained the purpose of the pendant. She told him that if he ever found himself in a situation he couldn't handle, he should break the blue gem. No matter where he was, Luna would come to his aid. Luna told Jin that he should never forget to wear this pendant and to keep it with him at all times. She wished Jin a happy birthday once more. Jin thanked Luna warmly for both the thoughtful gift and her heartfelt wishes. After their conversation, Jin's maid Gilly approached them with a cake for dessert. Luna took the cake, scooped a spoonful, and fed it to Jin. Gilly watched the scene with a smile, pleased to see the siblings getting along so well. When it was time for Luna to leave, Jin accompanied her to her carriage. He wished her well and reminded her to take care of herself as she departed. After Luna had left, Jin returned to the secret library where Moroccan was waiting. Upon entering, Moroccan noticed the pendant around Jin's neck and asked about it. Jin explained that it was a birthday gift. Moroccan then remarked that the person who gave Jin such a gift must care for him deeply, as the pendant was an exceptionally rare and difficult item to obtain. Jin asked Moroccan about the significance of the necklace, and Moroccan explained that it was an artifact of Demon King Orgel. He told Jin that 1,000 years ago, people risked their lives to obtain one of the Demon Lord's artifacts. Jin was curious if the pendant was truly that remarkable. Moroccan confirmed that it was, explaining that the pendant provided resistance to attack magic of 5-star level and below, enhanced the wearer's magical abilities, and even had summoning capabilities. Jin noted how knowledgeable Moroccan was about the pendant, and Moroccan responded that his familiarity came from having lived during the same era as the Demon Lord. Moroccan then wondered if the gift had come from the person who had emitted a strong energy earlier. Jin confirmed that it was indeed from his sister, who had visited him. At that moment, Jin was astonished to learn that Moroccan could sense Luna's energy from the library. Moroccan explained that detecting energy from a distance was relatively easy for him and added that Luna might have also sensed Moroccan's presence. Jin was alarmed at the thought of Luna potentially informing the family about Moroccan. He feared that Luna might report on this matter, jeopardizing his safety. Moroccan reassured Jin, telling him not to worry. He emphasized that Luna held Jin in high regard, and had given him a rare pendant for his protection. Moroccan assured Jin that Luna would never betray him or leave him in danger. Jin asked if Moroccan was certain of this, and Moroccan confirmed, urging Jin to trust his sister as she would never harm him. Outside the castle, Luna stood in the pouring rain, contemplating the source of the strong energy she had sensed. It had not been present during her previous visit to the Storm Castle, but she chose to ignore it, understanding that it was related to Jin. Luna was determined to avoid causing him any trouble. In her thoughts, Luna silently reassured Jin, reminding him that no matter what he did or became, he would always be her brother. She vowed to stand by his side, unwavering and supportive, no matter the circumstances. As time passed, Jin turned 10 years old. Reflecting on his time at the Storm Castle, he realized that what he had initially expected to be a dull existence had instead proven to be full of valuable experiences and opportunities. Jin recalled how his father had come to acknowledge him and now held hope for his future. He also remembered the phoenix heart he received from his elder sister Mary, and how his relationship with Luna had grown significantly closer. Additionally, Jin thought back to the day he first met Moroccan, the guardian dragon. These were experiences and achievements Jin could never have imagined in his past life. Now, at 10 years old, Jin had already accomplished more than he ever thought possible, far surpassing the limitations of his previous life. Outside the castle's backyard, Jin and his knight, Khan, were sparring without weapons. Jin was preparing for his move from the Storm Castle to the main castle. As they fought, Khan observed that despite Jin's young age of 10, he was keeping up with Khan's pace and holding his own remarkably well. Khan thought to himself that Jin's skill was as expected, given the patriarch's interest in Jin and his apparent potential. While Khan typically took an evaluative approach when training others, he noticed that Jin seemed to be assessing Khan's abilities in return. At that moment, Khan told Jin that their training for the day was complete, and Jin agreed. Khan then approached Jin and asked if he had any concerns about today's training. Bowing his head respectfully, Khan expressed that it had been an honor to teach Jin up to this point. Jin was puzzled by Khan's words. Khan explained that with Jin's departure from the castle approaching, he was committed to giving his utmost effort in Jin's remaining training. Jin smiled and assured Khan that he looked forward to continuing under his guidance. After a few moments, Jin was alone in his room, idly playing with the flame of a candle. As he touched the flame, he murmured, finally, as if he had achieved something significant. At that moment, Gilly, his maid, called out to him and asked if the candle's flame wasn't too hot to touch. Jin replied that it felt more like warm water at the moment. The flame wasn't as hot for him as it would be for most people, thanks to the phoenix heart he had consumed, which granted him significant fire resistance. As Jin continued to grow stronger, his fire resistance would only improve. Gilly admitted that while she had heard of the phoenix heart, she had never seen its effects firsthand, and she was impressed by its power. Jin tested his flame resistance and found that he could absorb about half of the flame's heat. He estimated that within a few years, he would be able to strengthen his resistance further and fully absorb the phoenix heart's power, eventually achieving complete immunity to heat. Gilly then reminded Jin that he would be leaving the castle bright and early the next morning and offered to prepare anything he might need in advance. Jin replied that he would let her know if there was anything specific he required. As Gilly packed Jin's belongings, she noticed a pile of books on his bed and asked if she should pack them as well. Jin confirmed that she should, as he planned to read them during his journey back in the carriage. Gilly inquired if there was anything else that needed to be packed besides the books, and Jin assured her that was all. Gilly mentioned that she would prepare a strawberry pie for Jin as a snack for the day. At that moment, Jin remembered something and told Gilly he was going for a stroll. Gilly looked puzzled, wondering where Jin would be going so late at night. Jin apologized, assuring her that he would be back in a few moments. Jin then went to the secret library to meet Moroccan, who was already there. Upon opening the door, Jin found Moroccan standing in the room. Moroccan noticed Jin and asked if he was back already. Jin reminded Moroccan that he would be leaving the castle the next day. Moroccan acknowledged this, revealing that he had eagerly awaited this day for Jin to finally leave the castle. Jin inquired about how Moroccan planned to accompany him out of the castle. With a cheerful expression, Moroccan reassured Jin not to worry about such minor details. As the legendary Black Dragon, Moroccan promised he would manage it. He added that even though his current form was much weaker than before, handling such matters was still well within his capabilities. Moroccan assured Jin that he would follow him in a way that would go unnoticed by anyone. Jin, however, was puzzled by Moroccan's mention of his diminished strength. He asked Moroccan why he had become weak and why he hadn't informed Jin about it earlier. Moroccan explained that it was natural for him to be less powerful, as he had been in a deep slumber for over 1,000 years. His full strength had not yet been restored, and it would take time for him to regain his original power. Moroccan added that as Jin grew stronger, he would also gradually recover his full strength. He encouraged Jin to hurry up and become as powerful as Tamar, a strong magic swordsman. Upon hearing this, Jin asked Moroccan if the Runcandel family had originally been a family of magic swordsmen. He recalled from his past life, as told by Soldaret, that the Runcandel family had once been renowned for its magic swordsmen, with the founding patriarch, Tamar Runcandel, being the greatest magic swordsman in history. However, this fact had become obscure, as magic was now prohibited within the family. Moroccan explained that the Runcandel family's rejection of magic and their focus solely on swordsmanship stemmed from a humiliating vow established 1,000 years ago. Despite being revered as a guardian of the family, Moroccan noted that the Runcandel family would likely be hostile if he were to reveal himself to them. He added that, had it been 1,000 years ago, both Jin and Moroccan would have been celebrated for bringing such a noble being into the world. Jin expressed doubt about whether that would really have been the case. Moroccan acknowledged that his claim might seem a bit far-fetched, but assured Jin that he would do his best to remain hidden from the rest of the family so Jin wouldn't have to worry. Jin agreed with Moroccan's approach and felt reassured. Jin then pointed at the tube where Moroccan had been in deep slumber and asked what they would do about it. He expressed concern that if someone came to the library and found the tube empty, they would discover Moroccan was missing. Moroccan replied that he would create an illusion of himself still being in the tube using his magic, known as dragon tongue. When Jin asked what they would do if the illusion was discovered, Moroccan, slightly irritated, told Jin that as the dragon of shadows, creating and maintaining illusions was well within his abilities. He assured Jin that such a task was easy for him, though he added that, due to his current weakened state, it might be challenging to keep the illusion intact for long. Moroccan emphasized that despite this, he would do his best to sustain the illusion as long as possible until he regained his full strength. Jin felt reassured by Moroccan's confidence and agreed with the plan. Moroccan, noticing Jin's gratitude, told him he should appreciate him more. Jin then revealed he had brought something special for Moroccan. Curious, Moroccan asked what it was. Jin pulled out a pie made from the first strawberries of the year and a bottle of alcohol he had acquired. Moroccan's eyes lit up with excitement upon seeing the gifts, especially the pie, which he particularly liked. Jin reminded Moroccan not to overindulge and start creating strange illusions. Moroccan reassured Jin he wouldn't do anything of the sort and eagerly reached for the gifts. Moroccan then remarked that raising Jin had been worth it and suggested Jin introduces his nanny to him, hinting at a potential setup. Jin responded he would consider it. As the new day dawned, it was time for Jin to leave the storm castle. Outside, Gilly was helping Jin prepare for his departure, carefully putting a coat on him to shield him from the cold. Gilly advised Jin not to expect the same quiet and relaxed life he enjoyed at the storm castle. She reminded him that while he had trained hard, the challenges would be even greater in the main castle, and his days would be much busier. Gilly also mentioned that she wouldn't be able to bake pies for him as easily as she had before. Jin acknowledged Gilly's words, assuring her that he understood and was prepared to give his best effort in the main castle. He promised to continue his hard work and dedication. Gilly, in turn, vowed to support Jin even more, no matter where he was. At that moment, two of the Guardian Knights approached Jin from behind and called out his name. They introduced themselves as Jerome and Holtz, bowing to Jin in a sign of respect. Jerome informed Jin that they would be escorting him to the Garden of Swords. Jin acknowledged their introduction, expressed his gratitude, and agreed to be in their care. The three then proceeded towards the Garden of Swords. It was October 30, 1790, and Jin was finally departing from the Storm Castle. He boarded the carriage bound for the Runcandel family's main estate, the Garden of Swords. As they traveled, Gilly, seated opposite Jin, remarked on the heavy snowfall outside. She suggested they stop at a nearby village to wait until the snowstorm became weaker, as the accumulating snow might hinder their use of the teleportation gate. Jin agreed with her advice. Just then, loud noises erupted outside the carriage. It became clear they were under attack. One of the knights informed Jin and Gilly that they were facing an ambush and advised them to stay inside the carriage and remain on standby. Gilly quickly pulled Jin into a protective hug, assuring him that everything would be all right. She emphasized that with Jerome and Holtz, both 7-star knights, and herself by Jin's side, there was no need to worry. Outside the carriage, the sounds of battle erupted as Jerome and Holtz engaged the ambushers. Gilly informed Jin that there were about 20 enemies, including mages, warriors, and archers. She reassured Jin that none of the attackers were likely above the strength of the 7-star knights, so they should be able to handle the situation. However, Jin suddenly became anxious and told Gilly they needed to exit the carriage immediately, as they were in serious danger. Gilly was puzzled by Jin's urgency. Jin explained that the Runcandel Guardian Knights were sworn never to leave a Runcandel child unattended, which meant that if one or both of the knights was absent or not present, it indicated a serious problem. This realization led Jin to conclude that one or both of the knights must be a traitor or an impostor. Jin then warned Gilly that one of the knights might have hidden something dangerous inside the carriage, and they needed to escape immediately. Gilly grasped the gravity of the situation and vowed to protect Jin, her young master, with her life as a loyal member of the Runcandel family. Drawing her weapon, she slashed the carriage door open, swiftly carried Jin out, and they both fled from the ongoing battle. They were now on the run. Gilly assured Jin that she would accept any punishment when they returned to the estate for endangering him, but Jin told her not to worry about that now, as they had more pressing concerns. Gilly suggested they head toward the battle scene to confirm something. Jin was puzzled by her request and asked what she needed to verify. Gilly explained that the attackers might be their allies since they were not currently pursuing them, which made the possibility of them being allies worth considering. Jin agreed, noting that if the assailants intended to target him, now would be the ideal moment since he had just exited the carriage. The eerie silence around them seemed odd, reinforcing the suspicion. Gilly agreed with Jin's assessment. In the distance, Jin and Gilly spotted several men searching for them. The leader of the group, a red-haired man, was issuing commands to his subordinates to locate Jin Runcandel. Observing from afar, Jin and Gilly noted that the men bore a symbol of a demon in black sakura, identifying them as members of the Yuta family from the Mattel family of magic and the mercenary group known as the Black King Squad. One of the men caught sight of Jin and Gilly and loudly announced their discovery. At that moment, the red-haired leader called out, emphasizing that protecting Jin Runcandel was their top priority and that nothing should happen to him. The leader approached Jin and Gilly and introduced himself as Murika, the captain of the Black King Squad. He explained that they had been sent to rescue Jin Runcandel based on a request from a member of the Runcandel family. At that moment, Jin and Gilly realized that the two knights, who had been posing as Jin's bodyguards, were imposters. It was clear that these knights were not only traitors but also fakes, as real 7-star knights would not have struggled against a group of mercenaries. Jin thought to himself that the knights' inability to handle the situation confirmed their deception. Gilly, her voice laced with fury, demanded that the traitors disclose their identities, their purpose, and their employer. One of the traitors smirked and replied that they would never answer to a mere servant of the Runcandel family. Gilly turned to Jin, seeking his guidance on how to proceed. Jin instructed her to eliminate one of the traitors and sever the arm of the other, bringing the injured traitor to him for interrogation. Gilly agreed to Jin's plan and immediately set out to confront the traitors. Gilly struck without hesitation, her blade slicing cleanly through the first traitor's neck, severing his head from his body. The second traitor stood in shock, paralyzed by the brutal sight. Gathering his courage, he attempted to attack Gilly, but his hand was swiftly cut off before he could make contact. Refusing to give up, the traitor desperately tried to strike with his remaining hand, but Gilly's strength was overwhelming. In a flash, Gilly overpowered him, pinning him down effortlessly. Jin then addressed the traitor, stating that his master had gravely underestimated both his opponents and Jin himself by sending weaklings like the traitors to assassinate him. Jin remarked that to even qualify as a nanny for a Runcandel, one must be at least a 7-star warrior, meaning the traitors stood no chance against Gilly. He further advised the traitors that if their goal was to assassinate a child of Runcandel, they should have sent at least 3 or 4 8-star knights. The traitor then shouted at Jin, demanding he stop fooling around, declaring that this was merely a warning and that the reign of the Runcandel would soon come to an end. In response, Jin said something astonishing. He admitted that he wanted that to happen as well. Everyone was stunned by Jin's words, but he continued, explaining that he didn't want the Runcandel reign to persist. He wanted the reign of Jin Runcandel to begin. The traitor was left in shock by Jin's declaration. The traitor then shouted a name, Zippel. Jin recognized the name immediately. It belonged to the renowned mage who ruled the other half of the world. Unlike the Runcandel, who pursued the ultimate mastery of the sword, Zippel and his nation sought the pinnacle of magic. 1,000 years ago, after the founder of the Runcandel died, Zippel had imposed a humiliating oath that banned the use of magic throughout Runcandel, sealing away all their magical abilities. To the Runcandels, Zippel had been a sworn enemy for a millennium. Jin then spoke, saying he had been curious about who was behind such a bold attack, only to find it was nothing more than a mere follower of Zippel. The traitor boiled with anger at Jin's dismissive words. Jin then ordered Gilly to dispose of the traitor, deeming him unworthy of interrogation. As Gilly dragged the traitor away, the man shouted insults, calling Jin an arrogant bastard. Meanwhile, Jin pondered the situation, realizing that the events of the day didn't align with Zippel's usual methods. It seemed that Zippel's followers were acting independently, but Jin found it odd. No matter how elaborate their disguise, it would be nearly impossible to fool the keen eyes of a 7-star warrior like Gilly. This led Jin to suspect that someone else must have been involved, aiding the traitors in their assassination attempt. At that moment, a certain man came to Jin's mind, someone who might have played a role in the attack. As Jin was lost in thought, Gilly approached and informed him that she had taken care of the traitors as he had instructed. Jin thanked her for her swift action. He then approached the squad's captain, Murika, and asked if he was the leader of the Black King squad. Murika confirmed that he was indeed the captain. Jin expressed his gratitude, acknowledging that he and Gilly had managed to escape successfully because Murika and his squad had diverted the traitors' attention. Jin assured Murika that once they reached the Runcandel castle, he would report the squad's assistance, ensuring they would be handsomely rewarded by the family. Jin then instructed Murika to set up the teleportation gate immediately, to which Murika responded that he would do his best. As Murika observed Jin, he found it hard to believe that a child from the Runcandel family would dare to venture outside the safety of the castle. Despite being only 10 years old, Jin already exuded confidence and dignity, qualities that left Murika impressed. He recalled Jin's bold declaration to the traitor about ruling over the Runcandel family and ushering in the era of Jin. The memory sent chills down Murika's spine, making him realize that Jin might truly be destined to fulfill that vision. Murika began to think that Jin's words weren't just the idle talk of a child, they carried a weight of seriousness and determination that made him reconsider Jin's potential. Murika then gathered his men and commanded them to pay close attention. He instructed them to remain vigilant until the teleportation gate was established, warning that there might still be assassins lurking nearby. He emphasized the importance of avoiding any reckless behavior. His men were taken aback by this uncharacteristic caution, as they were usually carefree and unconcerned. Murika quickly silenced their surprise, ordering them to follow his instructions without question. At that moment, Gilly informed Murika that it was time to depart, and he promptly obeyed. Murika relayed the order to his men, who, mesmerized by Gilly's beauty, quickly complied without hesitation. Murika asked Jin if it was wise to leave the assassins behind. Jin assured him that it was fine, explaining that whether they were found alive or dead, the slain assassins would serve as a powerful warning to their comrades. It would instill fear, making it clear that anyone who dared to challenge the Runcandel family would face their wrath and certain death. Jin then commended Gilly on her excellent job in eliminating the assassins, and Gilly graciously thanked him for the compliment. She then informed Jin that they would reach the village within 2 hours. Jin then instructed everyone to stay in the village until the snow stopped. He reassured Gilly not to worry about the recent events or about not detecting the assassins and traitors among them. Jin pointed out that even Khan, a 9-star knight, had not noticed the assassins, so it was understandable that Gilly, a 7-star knight, might have missed them. He assured her that it was not a big issue for him and she should not be concerned. Despite Jin's reassurances, Gilly apologized once more for the situation. Jin looked at Gilly and reflected on how she had remained the same as before. As the nanny of the Runcandel family, Gilly's fate was tied to the child she was assigned to. Gilly had been responsible for Jin in his previous life as well, and because Jin was untalented then, Gilly had suffered the same scorn and humiliation. Despite this, Gilly had never once resented Jin. On the day he was banished from the Runcandel family, Gilly was also exiled alongside him. She had apologized to Jin, bowing her head and crying as she expressed her regret for not being able to serve him better. At that moment, Gilly told Jin that she would accept any punishment for what had happened. Jin, raising his voice in frustration, ordered Gilly not to blame herself for the situation. He reminded her that, as his nanny, she was also his sole guardian knight. If she allowed such trivial matters to trouble her, it would only lead to more problems in the future as she continued to escort him. Jin urged Gilly not to make him repeat himself and emphasized that she needed to strengthen herself, as she would face similar challenges going forward. Gilly acknowledged Jin's words and promised to improve. Jin remembered how Gilly had treated him in his previous life and felt a reluctance to be harsh with her now. However, he also recognized that the present was different from the past, and Gilly needed to strengthen her resolve to adapt to the new circumstances. Gilly thought to herself about how Jin, her master, was looking out for her and caring for her despite being so young. She realized that Jin's words were meant to help her, and she felt a deep resolve to ensure that no one would ever hurt him again. Gilly was determined to make her master, Jin, proud and to perform her duties impeccably. Seeing Gilly's renewed determination, Jin felt a sense of relief and satisfaction. Jin, Gilly, and the rest of the group were now in the village, seeking refuge from the heavy snowfall. Inside, they were searching for rooms to stay in until the storm subsided. Murika was negotiating with the manager for 2 rooms for the night. Meanwhile, Jin was preoccupied with thoughts of the assassins. He considered the possibility that someone he had known in his previous life might be involved in the assassination attempt. The name that came to mind was Boubert Gaston, a transformation sorcerer. Transformation was a skill typically associated with dragons, though even they couldn't achieve perfect transformations. However, Boubert Gaston was the rare individual capable of flawless transformation. He had used this ability to commit numerous crimes and sow chaos across the world. Jin realized that if Boubert was indeed involved, the situation had become significantly more complicated. In Jin's previous life, he remembered that Boubert had been arrested by Bament's special affairs. Jin thought that if he could turn Boubert into an ally in this lifetime, Boubert might prove useful to him. However, Jin also recognized that he had no reason to take in someone who had turned against him. As he yawned, Jin resolved to investigate any changes from his previous life before Boubert could cause more trouble. At that moment, Gilly informed Jin that she would be standing guard outside. Noticing that Jin was already asleep, she gently tucked him into bed and smiled as she quietly left him to rest. Morning arrived, and Jin was awakened from his sleep by the persistent mewing of a black cat. He realizes that he had fallen asleep without knowing. Despite his extensive training at the Storm Castle, Jin thought that it was still quite exhausting for a 10-year-old. As he listened to the sound approaching the window, he turned to see a black cat staring at him. Jin was startled by the sight of the cat and wondered if it could be Moroccan, the dragon himself. To Jin's surprise, the black cat was indeed Moroccan himself. Jin recalled that Moroccan had once promised to follow him and assured Jin not to worry about his presence. Seeing Moroccan now in the form of a cat, Jin shouted at him, accusing Moroccan of breaking his promise by appearing directly before him in such a guise. Moroccan apologized for not keeping his promise, but Jin reassured him that it was not a major concern. Jin explained that he was simply surprised to see Moroccan in the form of a cat, which had caught him off guard. Jin had expected Moroccan to disguise himself as one of Jin's servants, such as a horseman. Moroccan, irritated, explained that if he took such a form, the knights in Jin's family would recognize him immediately. He then described how challenging it was for him to follow Jin without being detected. As Moroccan approached Jin, his foot became lodged in a crack in the floor, causing him to fall and slam his face into the wall. The commotion created a loud noise that caught Gilly's attention outside Jin's room. Alarmed by the noise, Gilly quickly entered the room to investigate. Gilly burst into the room and saw Moroccan near Jin, who was still in pain as he held his face. Jin, unsure of how to handle the situation, looked on helplessly. Seeing Moroccan, Gilly immediately assumed a defensive stance, ready to attack. She threatened to kill Moroccan for daring to approach her master and demanded he reveal everything before she tore him apart. Gilly seized Moroccan by the neck and forcefully asked him who he was. Recognizing Gilly's voice, Moroccan's expression shifted. He immediately introduced himself and addressed Gilly as his strawberry pie. He remarked that he was delighted to finally meet her after so long. Gilly was disgusted by Moroccan's nickname, and Jin, observing the unfolding chaos, thought to himself that they were in serious trouble. That's all for today. If you do enjoy the video, please subscribe, like and share, and also share your thoughts in the comment section.